All right, we are back live. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, we got a lot to discuss in this video, and I don't have the most time today, but we're gonna get through it. All right, we're gonna get through it all week. I got a lot of catching up to do because I spent the week in Mexico, and I know a lot of you been asking me how was my trip. My trip was good. I had a great time. Wasn't the most relaxing trip. It was kind of like a party, running around, doing a lot of stuff type of trip where I came back home much more tired. It's supposed to be, excuse me, it's supposed to be vacation, but I actually came back feeling tired, burnt out, and needed a vacation from vacation. But I had a great time in Mexico. It was very safe. I stayed in a very safe area. Had a great house. The house was huge. Had chefs. Um, swam a lot, drunk a lot of tequila. It was a great time. All right. But yo, let's talk boxing. Let's get into it because there was a lot of boxing yesterday. Of course, we had a big fight between Jamel Charlo and Brian Castano. They rematch, all right? And I did a review late last night on that fight. If you haven't seen it already, check it out. I will definitely be going over some of the things that I said last night, all right? But we had a lot of other boxing. We had a Triller card, all right? And I guess I could start off there because I want some more people to come in but before I start talking about the stuff that everybody wants me to talk about. um I'm still not sure how I feel about Triller. I'm not really sure about. I see what they're doing. And I see that they got Sean Porter. Sean Porter's doing commentary, it seems like on every network, because I believe he's done commentary with the Zone, maybe even with Sky Sports. um he's doing commentary all over the place, and he has his podcast, and it's good for Sean. It's gonna be very hard for him to come back and actually fight if that was ever an option. When you're getting paid and you're getting, you got all these gigs on the other side of the sport. And I think that's what I like about Sean, and I always liked about Sean. Very respectful guy, great character, but he's basically showing people that you got to have other lanes. And I think I didn't expect to be talking about Sean Porter, but I'm glad it's just I'm glad to see that he has other lanes. You can't just always have a plan A. Whatever is your day job, you never know. Like, look what happened with the pandemic. You never know what's gonna happen. So this is why you got to have as many options to make income available. You have to have so many things going on at once. You can't just stick to one thing. I'm happy Sean is doing this commentary thing. He's doing his podcasting. I'm sure he's doing other things outside of that. Good for him. But I'm not sure what I feel about Triller, because I see what they're trying to do. They're taking the hip hop community with these versus battles. They had Onyx and Cypress Hill last night, which I did watch. Was pretty good, decent battle. But they're having the fights and they're having music performances in between the fights. And I'm not sure, like, it's one thing that you're drawing people that are in it and that's watching it just for the performances. You're drawing them in, but you're also turning it off for the people that just want to see the fights. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some people that don't want to see these performances. And there's more performances than that versus battle. You had like King Combs. You had people like that's performing that people are not like really interested in see it. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna turn away from it because they're watching, they're here to watch boxing, and then you got the people that want to see the performances that are not into boxing, that's gonna turn it off after I don't know. I see that they're trying to do something different, and I think that's cool. But I'm just not sure how to feel about the whole Triller thing yet. I'm still not like I'm not sure about it, and I think what they're gonna do, like they got Kovalev on this card, they got Pulev on this card, they've had MMA fighters on the cards before, and I think what they're going to do is they're going to keep pulling from people that has names that were top elite fighters at one point, like a Pulev, like a Kovalev. It's like kind of like Bellator. You know, Bellator, and it's not a diss to Bellator at all, because I like watching Bellator. You know, I'm not as big as an MMA guy, but I do watch their cards from time to time. And Bellator tends to pull, like, you know, UFC fighters or pride fighters, guys that had big names and legendary fighters, and they pull them over to Bellator when they're kind of at the end of their career or past the end of their career. You know, every once in a while they might pull a fighter that's young, and they try to do it with Teofimo Lopez, and it didn't work out for them, but they try to pull him with a lot of money, kind of similar to what Rock Nation did years back when they try to pull Andre Ward and all of these other fighters to fight with their network, or their promotions. And I kind of feel like Triller is doing that, but I'm just not sure with the concert setting and the fight setting. I don't know if it really works for me. I'm watching it and I'm like, it's not bad. And maybe it's still too soon, but I'm not sure how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everyone that's here, by the way. I see you guys are leaving comments. What's up, 12 Brutal Rounds? What's up, Vidalaj, Ivan? What's up, CNP is here. What's up, Captain Crochet? I did get your message. And I will try to join you this week if I get some time. All right. I know Tony Yoka is your guy, and I am going to speak on him in this video here. Fistiano, what's up? Hey, Yvonne, how you doing? And La Vida, what's up, La Vida? What's good? So look, Kovalev, he came back. I saw the majority of the fight, then watched it all the way through. And I mean, Kovalev looked like a Kovalev that hasn't fought in 2.5 years, and he's older and he's fighting at a higher weight now. He's fighting at cruiserweight now. He fought Kubrat Pulev's brother, Tervel Pulev, who I wasn't familiar with. I knew he had a brother, but I never actually seen him fight before. And I thought it was an okay fight. I watched it again. Kovalev haven't been the crusher for a long time. All right. He's changed his style. He's not the puncher he once was. He's been relying on his boxing ability since he lost to a leader, Alvarez. Okay. It is what it is. He's just, he's going to just take the fights he can. He's going to try to make some noise at cruiserweight. I don't think cruiser is as strong as it was a few years back during the first World Boxing Super Series and before that. I thought cruiserweight was a lot stronger then than what it is right now. I think right now it's starting to revamp a little bit. So I think Kovalev might have some sort of a chance, maybe to pick up a title somewhere. But I'm not really sure at this point, man, because he is still, even though, he's older, and the thing is, his cardio is just not that good. I think that's always been one of his weaknesses. I think that was kind of exposed with Andre Ward. And ever since that fight, we haven't seen him look strong in the later rounds. And in this fight, even yesterday, I mean, he won the fight clearly, yes. But it wasn't that, it didn't give me anything. And I wasn't really expecting much because, again, this is Kovalev fighting at a higher weight. And he's older, and he hasn't fought since he lost to Canelo. It's been that long, So I wasn't really expecting much from it, but it is what it is. I thought the Pulev fight with Jerry Forrest was pretty good. Okay, Jerry Forrest has had some good fights recently. All right, and he's been fighting on Triller, and he fought Zhang. All right, he fought Zhang, who just had a win on the Canelo card last week. And fought Zhang good. I thought he could have had a good chance of winning that fight. And then he who else did he fight? He fought what's his name? Can't think of his name now. He's fought a good couple people. Let me just say that. And the Pulev fight when it was good. In fact, I feel like Pulev actually performed against Forrest better than the other two fighters that I was trying to name before. And I mean, it was a decent fight. I thought that was one of the better fights. I see Fernando Vargas's sons were fighting. I didn't watch all of them. Michael Hunter, thank you. Michael Hunter And I actually have to speak on Michael Hunter because I wanted to bring him up in the Tony Yoka, Martin Bacoli situation, but we'll get to that soon. Fernando Vargas' son fought on the undercard as well. I didn't see all of the fights. I just kind of seen the highlights. It was just too many fights. It was too many things going on yesterday. So I didn't get to watch all of them fights, but I did see Evander Holyfield's son get knocked out in the second round. And look, we've been watching him fight on undercards. I know I did at least a couple, 2 or 3 lives where he was fighting on the undercard and I was covering his fights. And the kid, he looks good, but again, I wasn't really that impressed and no wow from him. And thank you, Yvonne, for the donation. I appreciate that. I wasn't really high on him. I mean, it was Evander Holyfield's son, but it's kind of like Nico Ali Walsh. It's Muhammad Ali's grandson. So he's on the card. We're watching him. We're paying attention, but I don't see anything special. I think there's a lot more talent with a couple of those Fernando Vargas' sons. A couple of them are look like they seem to be much more better, than him. So again, he got knocked out. It is what it is. See if he bounces back. It's not the end of the world. Guys like him, you might have to take a few losses before he really steps it up. We saw Shane Mosley Jr. recently beat Gabe Rosado in a fight that I didn't think he would win, because I've been watching Shane Jr. Shane Sr. is one of my favorite fighters of all time. And I've been watching Shane Jr. because of the fact that he's Shane's son. And I've been seeing him taking like L's here and there. And I've seen the improvement when he fought Gabe Rosado. So maybe, Holyfield's son, I believe his name is Evan Holyfield. Maybe at some point he improves. Hopefully he fights and continues fighting and continue improving. It's not the end of the world, unless you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. He'll bounce back. But overall, the trilogy card really wasn't much there. I think if you want to go back and look at some good performances, I think the Vargas sons were probably the best performances of the night. I think the Pulev Forrest fight was decent. I know there was some kind of hold up with that fight too, because Forrest gloves, there was some kind of issue with his gloves. And actually, I think Pulev actually lent him his spare gloves for he could fight him. Something crazy, right? But anyway, that was that with that card. And again, I'm still not sure how I feel about Triller overall. They definitely got a thing going. I just don't know. It's just so many different areas to watch boxing at this point. And I'm not sure if Triller's, outside of the Jake Paul thing, I'm not, or celebrity boxing, I'm not sure where they kind of stand in boxing. But if they have the money to keep putting on cards and keep going, but you have the Zone, you have ESPN, you have Showtime and PBC and Fox. I just don't know if there's still room for, Triller yet, but we'll have to wait and see. All right. So real quick, Zurdo Ramirez won last night. Just want to address him real quick. He won and he beat who was it? Dominic Bozell, right? So he beats Bozell, and now he's like the WBA mandatory for Bivol's belt. And this fight has been a long coming thing. You know what I'm saying? This is the key thing with Zurdo Ramirez, right? Zurdo came in last night weighing 206 at 175 pounds. Like he actually made weight and was still able to add on another 30 pounds overnight. That's insane. I don't believe that Ramirez is the greatest fighter at 175. All right. I think there's holes in his game. Even when he was at 168, I don't think he's the best talent up there. But if you're big enough to where you're coming in 30 pounds over, the weigh-in, the weight limit on a night of the fight, that's scary. That's very scary. And again, it goes against to what we saw last week with Canelo Alvarez, which I do want to speak on at some point. I'm gonna have to speak more on it because my flight was literally the morning after that fight, and I didn't really even get to speak as much as I would want to on that fight. But Zurdo being 206 last night, he got a 4th round knockout. That is crazy. And Bivol is not even like a big light heavy. This guy can still make 168. He's always been smaller than all of his opponents. He's not that much bigger than Canelo, when they fought last week. But Bivol makes up of his lack of size with his skill and his talent. You know what I'm saying? His experience. Not the biggest puncher in the world. But a guy like Zurdo would be very dangerous for him, I don't believe Zurdo has the talent of a Canelo, obviously, but Zurdo's size could be a huge issue. His size and his power and his pressure could be a huge issue for Bivol if that fight ever or is to happen. And this is my whole thing with Canelo. And I'm gonna have to go and talk about Canelo a little bit here because I know Canelo wants the rematch, right? I feel like he lost the fight clearly. I did get a chance to go back and didn't feel any differently about I tend to like usually when I have a wide scorecard, like I had it 9-3 for Bivol, I try to like watch it and favor Canelo. Like I'm watching what Canelo do, and I'm trying to pay attention to every shot he lands. And yes, he had his moments. He connected with a few good uppercuts early on, and he landed some good body shots. But for the most part, it was pretty clear that Bivol won the fight. And the whole thing is, Bivol was able to, display some good defense, shell up really good, use most of his arms to be able to block most of the shots that Canelo threw. But normally when I see that happen, like even fighters have said it, when you get hit in the arm so much, because it is an actual tactic, guys get tired of holding their arms and getting hit, and they kind of tend to drop their arms at times because they're just tired of holding them up because they're getting pounded on so much. So that didn't happen in a fight with Bivol. Bivol continued to shell up and created more offense and was actually outworking Canelo. But what happens when you fight a fighter that is used to fighting guys your size and bigger, which is Zurdo? You know what I'm saying? Now, Zurdo putting on the pressure is going to be different from Canelo putting on the pressure because Zurdo is a naturally bigger guy. He's used to fighting at that size against those type of opponents, and he's going to keep coming, and he's not going to be feeling so tired because he's not going to be like Canelo, who just moved up to 175. And I know Canelo has fought there before, but he fought a fading Kovalev when he fought there. It's different with Bivol. It's different from a guy like a better BF. These guys, you got to think when it comes to Canelo, let's just say he fought a Zurdo, or let's say he had fought a better BF. Those periods when Canelo got tired and he needed some space against Bivol, these guys like Zurdo and Benavidez is not going to be not Benavidez, better BF. They're not going to be so cautious when it comes to defense. They're going to keep the pressure going, and they're going to walk you down and take advantage of you waiting on the ropes. And I know that Canelo likes to set traps on the ropes. I get it. We've seen him do it plenty of times. But, these guys, these naturally bigger guys are going to be looking for those opportunities to take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to do it better than Bivol. Bivol will be better in certain other things that he do that's better than better BF or better than a Zurdo. But Zurdo and better BF are more like KO artists, guys that put pressure on you, guys with power, guys that's not trying to go to 12 with you. You know what I'm saying? Those are going to be very, very, very tough fights. I personally don't want Canelo to stay at 175. And it's not a diss. I still rate him very high, pound for pound. It doesn't really change much with me because you know, I knew how good Bivol was before, and he's a naturally bigger guy. You know, it's not like Plant and Saunders and these guys that are taller, or Callum Smith. It's all about size and skill. You know, with me, it's size and skill, and those guys were skillful, but you know, Bivol's more skillful than them. Plus, he's fighting at a bigger weight. You know what I'm saying? It's just different. All right, Dirty Red. Thank you, by the way, for the donation. Dirty Red says Charlo finally showed us how good he can be and fought up to his natural abilities. This is the type of talent that can beat Nello if they apply themselves. Well, I'm going to talk about him, man. And Charlo, yes, Charlo is in my top 5 pound for pound. He's definitely there for me. And I think he's one of the best KO artists. First of all, let me say this, and I said this on Twitter. I believe that Jermell Charlo is the most improved fighter in all of the sport. The most improved, okay? If you just seen where he came from, he wasn't a natural God-gifting talent like a lot of other people. Even his brother was rated highly over him for a long time, you know? Jermell came a long way, you know, and I'm going to talk more about him soon, shortly. Just give me a minute. Just want to get through this. But Zurdo is really a problem. And if Bivol and Canelo rematch does not happen, Bivol is in tough again against Zurdo Ramirez. Him coming in at 206 is just ridiculous, man. For a light heavy, that's ridiculous. That's crazy. But Bivol has the skill, and if Bivol can show and prove that he's durable and be able to work for 12 hard rounds against a Zurdo, because I wouldn't expect Bivol to stop Zurdo in any way. But if he can work and continue to box and move and shell up when it's time to, and deal with that pressure, if he can deal with it, then he can win on the scorecards. But it's going to be a tougher fight than the Canelo fight, in my opinion. All right, it is what it is. So anyway, let's speak on Tony Yoka. Martin Bacoli fight yesterday. Oh my God. Oh man. Now look, I did not get a chance. You know, I wanted to do a prediction video for that fight, but I'm not going to do a prediction video without doing any film study. Even though, you know, for certain fighters, I don't really need it. I always like to just be sure. And now it's a fight that I wasn't too sure going into, but I'll tell you, the way I looked at the fight, I felt that Yoka was going to win on points. I just thought that, you know, even whatever Bacoli can do, I thought Yoka was going to be able to edge it on points. All right. Even if Bacoli won, or if I felt he won, I thought Yoka was going to win on points. Even if Bacoli did whatever, I did not feel that Bacoli was going to just beat the living crap out of him like he did yesterday. Yes, he gave Yoka a beating, and you can see it from the very first round. Like the very first round, you can just tell from body language. It's all about the body language, man. I mean, even before he went down, Bacoli was just punishing Yoka. And you know what, I had to literally this morning, I went back and watched what's his name? I was just talking about him. I always forget his name. I hate that I do that. What's the fighter I was just bringing up earlier? That Michael Hunter. I had to go back and watch a Michael Hunter fight with Bacoli just to see if this was the same fighter. You know, like, did he improve that much? Like, you know, let me look at Bacoli's fights real quick that I've seen. Like, I seen him fight Kuzman, you know, and Sergey Kuzman, which was in 2020. Wow, that was in 2020. That seemed like that fight was like a year ago at most. But all right, I seen a Kuzman fight, you know. I seen a Walk fight, I seen a Hunter fight, and I just Cap, I'm not gonna be able to get on tonight. I'm not gonna, you know, I actually gotta get off this not too far from now, but you know, maybe later on this week we can do some commentary. Thank you for the donation, bro. But I had to go back and like make sure that I'm watching the same fighter. You know, now listen, I don't think Yoka was the greatest thing on the planet or anything like that. But I didn't think he was just going to get smoked that way, regardless of how you feel. If you think he was overrated, if you could go back and talk about, the drug test, if you want to go back and say what happened in the Olympics, whatever, I've heard all of the stuff, but I did not think at no point that Bacoli would do that. What I saw yesterday was insane. And if you haven't watched that fight, please go back and watch it. Tony Yoka is an Olympic gold medalist. All right. Regardless of how you feel, he holds a gold medal. All right. And I didn't see that coming like that. But Coley walked him down. All right. Used his jab, countered everything that he was throwing at him. And he came in heavy. He came in like at 277. Right. Yes, Bacoli, boxing pound for pound, says it. Yeah. Bacoli was in camp with Fury. Yes. So he probably did improve. All right. But man, I mean, he made it look so easy. He made it look so easy. And yes, those referees, those judges, I'm sorry, the judges, they try to rob him. They had a judge in there. It was 2 knockdowns. It was 2 knockdowns. I don't think there was any point. I don't believe that Yoka won any more than 2 rounds. And those were the rounds that I gave the Yoka, the 1 and 2 rounds I gave the Yoka was the rounds where I felt like Bacoli was taking off the round. It wasn't even like, I think it was like the 7th round. I forgot the other round. There was a round where, Yoka kind of got a second win and he started to come on a little bit. And, he started going to Bacoli's body a little bit. And I was like, okay, didn't sleep because now Bacoli's starting to get hit with a lot of shots. So I was like, I think I tweeted him like, yo, Bacoli can't just get reckless now because he's up, because he started taking a lot of shots, because he did start to tire up. You saw the volume decrease, you know what I'm saying? But Bacoli still finished stronger. Yoka just took the last round off, and you can tell he just wanted to survive, man. I think I don't know if his nose was actually broken in the first round, but it just looked like that probably affected him too. He got hurt bad in first. I think the second knockdown was like in the 4th or 5th round. I can't remember. But the second knockdown was, it looked weird because you just saw him lose his footing and his ankle twist. And it kind of reminded me of the David Haye fight with Tony Bellew. But no, he actually got caught with a hook before he dropped. So it was a shot that I think that like affected him and hurted him. And I think he really went down from that. But yeah, man, big, huge win for Martin Bacoli. And not for nothing, but with Tony Yoka, I don't know, maybe it's me. Maybe I have to go back and watch. I know Captain's in here. He's a big fan of Tony Yoka. But I feel like Tony Yoka was a lot more agile and elusive as an amateur. When he fought in the Olympics, I felt like he moved a lot better. He slipped shots a lot. There was a lot of better, like, I don't know. I think he just moved differently. Like now, I don't know. I just feel like he moves, but he doesn't move his upper body much. He doesn't slip as much. I don't know. I think he's just easier to hit. I think he just relies solely on his high guard with defense, and he doesn't really slip shots like the way he did in the amateurs. Like if you go back and look at his fight with Hrgovic, or you look at his fight with Joe Joyce, right? If you go back and look at those fights, just look at the way he moved now compared to the way, or not even just now, but like in the last few fights or so. Look at the way he moves back then in the Olympics compared to what he moves like now. I think there's a difference in the way that he moves. I don't know, man. I just don't think, I don't know. Again, big loss, bad loss. That's one of those losses where, I mean, Martin Bacoli is good, and I'm sure he's improved, and I definitely got to check him out now. But Yoka, that is a very devastating loss. And I hope he can bounce back from him. I mean, he's not this young guy, he's like 30 or so. So hopefully he can bounce back. Nat, thank you for the donation, by the way. Appreciate you. Thank you. But I don't know. You just gotta wait and see. I just gotta wait and see what happens with him. Hopefully he can bounce back. All right, but Bacoli looked good, man. Bacoli Spartan says Bacoli reminded me of George Foreman yesterday. Yeah, big man, slow, but the timing. That's what I meant to say earlier. The timing, the counters. It doesn't matter when you don't have to be so fast. When your timing is down and you know what's coming at you, it seemed like the way he fought Yoka last night. It just looked like it looked like he fought someone. He was fighting someone that he fought so many times before. That's how it looked. Yoka was just trying to move and trying to find new ways to create some offense, and it just seemed like he just got a jab stuck in his face every time he tried to jump in and hop in and do something. Anyway, all right. So last but not least, let's talk a little bit more about Jamel Charlo. I'm sorry, Jamel Charlo's win against Castano again. I'm gonna reiterate a lot of things that I said last night after the fight, but great performance, man. Great performance. Great fight, by the way. Oh, it was better than the first one. The first one was a great fight, but the second one was it's definitely one of my top fights of the year. You got Fundora and Fundora against Lubin was one of the best fights of the year. Of course, you got Amanda Serrano against Katie Taylor, one of the best fights of the year as well. But so this year has been good, and we've been getting some really good cards without any reschedules lately. I mean, we got Fury and White. We got Canelo and Bivol. I think what other fights we got? I know we got Kambosos and Haney coming up. We got Tank coming up against Rolly. We got a lot of fights coming up, So I'm loving the boxing schedules from April. We got Spencer. How could I forget? Spencer Ugas came up. But just this fight with Jamel and Castaño was a great fight. And I just don't feel like I like to see when a fighter actually commits to whatever it is that they were working on. It's like I'm sure that Derek James, he's the trainer. So I'm sure he sees what most fans or trainers or other fighters see. And, I know what I've been saying since the first fight. And I know what I've been saying for countless Jamel Charlo videos that I've done. And I like the fact that I seen him doing some of the things that I wanted him to do in order to win this fight. I saw that in this fight. Again, he's not perfect. There's things that he can definitely work on still, for sure. Absolutely. There's things that he can work on. But his power and his athleticism, his speed, and his explosiveness makes up for some of the technical advantages that some of his opponents or other fighters in a pound for pound list have over him. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's very, very dangerous because of it. What we saw in the Castaño fight was him using the jab, keeping the fight in the center of the ring, which he didn't before. All right. He wanted to try to catch Castaño while he was on the ropes. He's doing this little rope-a-dope thing. He was trying to catch Castaño in between punches. What happened was, though, he kept doing it too much. It was like almost every round where there was moments in a fight where we saw you boxing in the center of the ring and having success using that reach advantage that you had, using that jab that you have. And you didn't keep doing that. It was like, I feel that Charlo could have found ways to hurt Castaño outside of laying on the ropes. I was like, you know what? We get you're trying to hurt him. You have the power to do so. But try to find a way to hurt him in the center of the ring. Try to counter with an uppercut. Don't just rely on the hook. You know what I'm saying? Use the overhand right. Use your jab more. You know what I'm saying? Feint a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Change levels. Go to the body a little bit more. And I feel like he did all of that. All right. Yeah, I think that he could have still feinted a little bit more. I still think he needs to do something with that lead hand. I don't think he does enough with it. You know what I'm saying? He did a little bit trying to keep that space and leaving it out there, but I still feel he can work on that. But again, overall, I think that he's improved as a fighter dramatically, and I think he's really dangerous for anyone. You know, when you got that kind of power and explosiveness, you're dangerous for anyone. It's like Deontay Wilder. Now, I think Jamel overall has much more tools than Wilder. I'm not, but what I'm saying is Wilder knew exactly how to use his greatest strength. All right. He had speed and he had a lot of power in that right hand. All right. Yes, he was limited, but it's about you knowing what to do with that power and that explosiveness you have. You might not be as technically sound as everybody else. No, Jamel Charlo is not a Terrence Crawford. All right. But I know that if they were to ever fight, it's an extremely dangerous fight for Terrence Crawford because Terrence likes to square up and exchange and rumble a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If he gets caught into that with Jamel Charlo, he's going to get knocked out. But even if you don't, even when you're as good as a boxer, I mean, look at Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison's skill set is nice, right? He's a really good boxer. On his best day, he's really, really good. Problem is stamina issues. He can't fight 12 rounds the same way. But the first 6 rounds, it's going to be really hard to outscore Tony Harrison in 6 rounds. But Jamel Charlo found a way to connect with the big shot and get him out of there. Almost got him out of here in the first fight. Got him out of here in the second. Yo, what's up, Aunt Mugga? Was good, man. Good to see you. It's always good to see you. Mexican was great. Mexico was great, man. Shout out to my man Aunt Mugga, a long time subscriber, supporter of the channel. But yeah, back to what I was saying. It's not always about technical ability or thing. Jamel Charlo, the reason why he's in my pound for pound 5, because he's a great finisher. All right. He's going to find a way. He's so explosive. He's going to find a chance to connect with that shot. And he can do it with either hand. He has power in both hands. All right. And he's well-rounded. He's very, very fast and agile. And I don't think, again, I want him to work on the setups a little bit better. But I saw it in this fight. You know, even in the Tony Harrison rematch, which he won, I didn't see much of an improvement there. It seems like he just kept, and it might have been an emotional thing, you know, because I know he really hates Tony Harrison, you know, and I think that's one thing he needs to get, you know, stay focused. Sometimes he's very, very emotional, and, you know, and I think he just wants to he's trigger happy. I think if he fights the way he fought Castano in that rematch, I think he could really beat anybody. And I honestly believe that. I think Tim Tszyu, who's going to be one of his mandatories now, I think Charlo stops him without too much issue. I think Tim Tszyu is now on a level as Brian Castano. I don't think he is. You know, I think he's powerful. I think he's a good pressure fighter, but I think he's a step down from Brian Castano. I think Brian Castano was definitely the second best guy at the time that they fought. All right. And this is before the first fight. Me saying that before the first fight. You know, I know people were saying it's Tony Harrison, or they were saying, you know, all these other fighters. You know, I said Brian Castano was the best test for Jamel Charlo. All right. And we saw that in that first fight. All right. But Fundora is an issue. Because Fundora, his size, you know, his height, and his ability to work on the inside as well. That's the tricky part about Fundora is Fundora fights better on the inside. We saw that in the Erickson Lubin fight. Lubin can handle himself pretty well on the inside and got handled on the inside. All right. Jamel is different. All right, Jamel's not going to sit in the pocket like Erickson Lubin did. Jamel is a lot more agile and moves a lot better than Erickson Lubin. You know, Erickson Lubin is a good counter puncher, a good body puncher. All right, you know, slick fighter. You know what I'm saying? Southpaw. But Jamel brings much more than Lubin, you know, and I think if Lubin had won against Fundora that night, I think Jamel would have knocked Lubin out again, you know, and not in the same way he did in the first fight, but I think Jamel would catch him, you know, because that's the thing with Lubin. As good as he is, he gets caught. You know, even in the Jason Rosario fight, he got caught. He gets caught. He gets clipped. Doesn't have the greatest chin. Charlo is one of the most durable fighters out there. You know, he's up there. You know, people, you got to give a fighter credit. Jamel Charlo, even his brother Jamal, but Jamel Charlo fought on a higher, more on an elite level. Jamel Charlo is one of the best chins out there. So is Triple G. So does Canelo Alvarez. So is Danny Garcia. Sean Porter. You know, I mean, he's retired now. These guys got iron chins, man. You know, I think there's more people I can name. I could go down a list of a whole bunch of people that got great chins, but Jamel Charlo has some of the greatest. He has one of the greatest chins out there. You know what I'm saying? I think he's up there. I think he belongs up there with one of the best, not just because he's undisputed, but definitely because he's undisputed. But I think he's dangerous for anyone that comes up from 147. Yes, including Terrence Bud Crawford. Very dangerous fight for Crawford, fighting Jamel Charlo. You know, because it takes one punch with Jamel to turn a fight around. You might be beating him on the scorecards, but as long as he's still in a fight, he's always dangerous for anyone. Ask Tony Harrison. So, great win. Like I said last night, if he's gonna stay at 154, all right, and try to defend his titles, I would like it to be against Fundora. Fundora is the most challenging fight for me at 154. If it's not gonna be, if he's probably looking for the biggest money opportunity, it will probably be fighting this guy Tim Tszyu out in Australia. You know, if they can get a big, you know, arena fight thing out there like Devin Haney and the Cambosis is going to be, like Pacquiao and Horn was back then. You know, I think that would be the way to go if you're looking for the bag. But if you're looking for a fun fight that the fans would want, especially Fundora is a guy that I think is going to be around for a while. If you want to win, that's going to age well, because I think Fundora got a long career, you know, as long as he stays healthy, because he takes a lot of punches. I think Fundora is a guy that can easily become a champion at 154, 160, 168, 175. I think that kid has the dimensions to be able to at least move up and become a champion in another 5 divisions, you know, at least up to cruiserweight because of his height. He's still young. I'm sure he's going to put on some pounds. I'm sure he takes off a lot of pounds to cut the weight. But I can see that guy easily fighting at cruiserweight at some point towards the end of his career, at least. Vita Basio says, you know, I said that on Twitter and everyone called me crazy. Not sure exactly which comment you're discussing, but yeah, Fundora is the fight I want, you know. If he does go to 160, that'd be great. That'd be great. Why not? You know, I mean, do it again at 160, but do it quick. If you're gonna go to 160, go to 160 now. You know, if you're gonna make the move, go to 160. There's fights up there. You know, yeah, I know Jamal might eventually go to 168. I don't know. But I mean, there's people there. There's still Triple G. I mean, I don't know if that fight would really actually happen. I don't know. But what I will say is Jamel and Jamal seem to be a little different. So what fights we didn't get from Jamal at 160, we may get from Jamel at 160. Just saying. Just putting that out there. All right. I don't like to really compare the two brothers too much. You know, I never really liked doing it too much on this channel. But the way I seen it, I have to be honest. Early in their careers, I thought Jamal was the better fighter. Right? I thought he had the better jab. I thought he had more power. You know what I'm saying? I just thought he was better, you know, from most of their careers. Once Jamel got with Derrick James, he started slowly creeping up on his brother. And I still seen improvement with every fight, where Jamal I haven't seen any improvement with him since he moved up to 160. You know, when he beat J Rock, that was the highlight of his career to me. You know what I'm saying? The Austin Trout fight was a great fight. But I haven't seen that in 160. I haven't gotten anything from him that made me say wow. Whereas Mel has been taken over at 154. You know what I'm saying? So if he is going to 160, that's cool. But if he's gonna do it now, you know, while you're still sharp before you get too old. Get it in there now, you know, get it out of the way and try to take over the division. You know what I'm saying? And become a 2 division champion, you know, and that's all I really got to say about that. I think I covered everything that I wanted to go over today. It's fight week this week, and we got a couple fights coming up. Let me just pull up this schedule for this week. All right, we got a couple fights. So we have David Benavidez is going to be fighting David Lemieux. All right, which I'm expecting a KO win from Benavidez. You know, David Lemieux is great, but you know, when he fights the elites, he usually loses. All right. And I'm expecting the same. Benavidez, I'm expecting him to take him out. Joshua Buatsi is going to be fighting Craig Richards. That's going to be a good fight. Good test for Buatsi. I'm expecting a win from Buatsi, but I'm expecting him to get tested. You know, Craig Richards can box. You know, so I like the fight, but I'm expecting Buatsi to do his thing. All right, and yeah, Tevin Farmer fighting Mickey Bay. Which is a pretty. Don't sleep on that fight. I don't know who's a favorite, but I think that's a tough fight for Tevin Farmer. I think I rate Mickey Bay high, even though he's lost some fights and stuff. And I know he's older. He's a very skilled boxer. I never seen anyone beat him easily. All right, never seen it. All right, and yeah, that's it for the most part. All right, so I'll definitely put in some video, some content on some breakdowns for these fights this weekend. Probably within the next 2 or 3 days. Who do I got from Fundora and Charlo? I have Charlo winning, and I think Fedora is, you know, Charlo. I can see Fundora winning, so I'm not taking any chance. When I say it quickly, it's not because I don't think Fedora is good. It's just that I've thought about this so much. I can see Fundora winning from pressure. You know what I'm saying? And if he gets to a point where Charlo gets tired a little bit, he could definitely work. The thing is, Fundora is going to have to take so much damage in order to really beat up Charlo. And Charlo, bigger puncher than Lubin. Again, more of a mover than Lubin. He's not going to be standing in the pocket like Lubin. And just coming out of 2 fights with Castano, who's also a pressure fighter, a guy that throws a lot of punches. I just think Charlo would be more prepared for Fundora. You know, and Fundora gets hit very easily. He just cannot withstand that many heavy blows from Charlo, in my opinion. You know, the only way I can see Fundora really winning is, you know, him taking so much damage and keeping the pressure up to a point where Charlo just doesn't have any more in the tank. You know what I'm saying? He starts to take over. But again, Charlo is also very durable as well. You know what I'm saying? And even when I've seen Charlo a little bit gas, it was more like it usually is not consecutive rounds. You know what I'm saying? So I would have Charlo winning that one for sure. That would be a great fight. You know, that would be a great one. Yeah, Sergio Garcia is another fight. And you know, in the Sergio Garcia fight, Sergio Garcia was part of the reason why I thought Lubin had a great chance to beat Fundora. You know, Sergio boxed extremely well. Was showing good defense, good counters, kept the volume up too, and he matched Fundora's punch output. You know, I don't know what the output numbers were, but I'm talking about what I'm seeing in the fight. You can't get hit that much by Jermell Charlo. You just can't. You can't. You know, and it will happen. It will happen. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think Fundora is going to be able to deal with it. You know, Fundora does has a chin, all right, but again, he did get dropped by Lubin, you know, and I think Jermell would just do is way. I think he's better than Lubin, and Lubin's very good, but he's better than Lubin. Even still, you know, he's better than Lubin. You know, Lubin gave him a hell of a fight and did a lot of damage on him fighting his fight. You got to remember, guys, Lubin chose to fight Fundora's fight, which was a big mistake. You know what I'm saying? Just like Charlo fought Castano the first fight. He fought his fight. But what did we see in the rematch? We seen that Charlo can fight smart. You know, use the distance, you know, fight from the outside, you know, punch and move, slip and counter. We saw a lot of that with Charlo. We saw angles that we didn't see in the first fight. You know what I'm saying? Fundora, Lubin wasn't giving Fundora that. Lubin stood right there in the pocket and banged with him and took all that damage in that second round. Unnecessary damage. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to be the Charlo fight, man. It's not going to be it. You know? So I have Charlo beating him, man. Possibly stopping him too. You know? Yeah, Jermell did say he wants to move up to go to 160. So we'll see. You know, we'll see what he actually does. I'm just weighing out all the options. You know what I'm saying? I like the 160 move. I think if he does go to 160, I think he should go now. If he doesn't go to 160, again, he's gonna have to fight Zoo for the bag in Australia, maybe, or Fundora for the great fun fight that many of us would want to see. You know what I'm saying? But it really depends on Charlo and what he wants to do. All right. Anyway, yo, I'm gonna get out of here, man. It was fun. It was real. I'm glad to be back on here. And I'll be back tomorrow, probably tomorrow evening, with some more content. All right, we got a lot of fights to get through for this week. Next week, got a tough schedule with boxing. But listen, it was good checking in. Thank you for everyone that donated. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Smash that like button again if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace.